And blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning here at KIDO Talk Radio. We're joined by our great friend Dave Petzo of the Petzo Center, Petzo Financial. You can catch him on Facebook and Twitter, or every Saturday here at KIDO Talk Radio from 8 to 10. Dave Petzo, good morning.
Good morning, Kevin.
So we take a look at the end of the first quarter, just about ready to wrap up, and getting ready for the start of the second quarter. What are your instincts? What is your spidey sense telling you?
Well, we got our correction out of the way, the one that we've been waiting 2 years for. We finally got it. And I don't know if it's going to continue. It's brought some more volatility with it. But the reality is the market's still up for the year, though slightly. GDP is growing, and not as fast, it appears. We'll have to wait and see, but does not seem to be growing quite as fast as it did in the fourth quarter. But all in all, the economy seems to be very much on track. We have, obviously, the tax cuts just beginning to take effect, and so I look for a very strong economy the rest of the year.
Indeed. You know, we just had this big NCAA tournament in town. Probably the reason why we the first time we've had it since 2009 is so many hotels and folks coming in. I mean, it's amazing the amount of growth of the hospitality industry, not only in the city of Boise, but throughout the area. You just have these more and more hotels coming in. And you and I have advocated for having more conventions here. Do you think that's going to happen?
I absolutely do. Now, the facilities here are not big enough to host anything of any, really big size. But some of the mid-sized conventions would be very well served here, and there's plenty of downtown hotels now. So the answer is yes. I do expect to see a lot more, and that is the primary reason why, Kevin. That's not the primary reason. The other is, of course, we're getting more flights. You and I really have talked about that a lot at the airport.
It's been a while.
It's been a while because we've had them, right? We're starting to get them.
Right. American opening up that nonstop to Chicago and a few other places.
Exactly. We now have some competition to some of the main routes. It's a much better situation than it was a couple of years ago out there at the Boise Airport.
Indeed. But let's get back to just the convention industry.
Mm-hmm.
You know that movie Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. So is it our unique location? Is it the airlines? What would keep us from, hosting people here? It's funny when you have the national press and, hey, we like Boise. Now, you know me, I love the Treasure Valley.
Mm-hmm.
You can keep the city of Boise, but we all work together. So if you, let's say you were, let's pick an industry. Let's say financial advising, okay?
Right.
You go to these conventions and, you want people to work and have a good time, but wouldn't this be the ideal place just because, again, you work and you have a limited nightlife. It's not elaborate, but you're here actually to work, not to swing from the chandeliers.
Yes.
Could that be a selling point as opposed to a Seattle or a Portland where you have bigger infrastructure, but you have more distractions?
You do, and Boise has, of course, its own group of distractions, really, right? The outdoors, you want to go see something of Western life. Most conferences that I go to have some activities outside of the conference. So, yes, you're right, most of them occur in the conference hall, but you do have some outside activities, whether it's off to a steakhouse for dinner or something like that. But there often are outdoor activities as well. And if we have those happening in conjunction with it, conferences need that. They really do need to have those outdoor activities as well. And because people do, also part of the reason they come to conferences is to enjoy the place that they go to. So there's really two things. You either are saying, give me a central place right next to the airport type of thing. We want to go into Denver. We just want to get this over and done and out. Or you go into a place like Boise if there is enough conference room space for you and create an entire experience. I think Boise would have a great allure because people who haven't been here have heard of it, have heard how great it is, and want to come see it. So I think it has a big draw.
Our great friend Dave Petzo with us. Do you think, though, an area like Meridian or Nampa or Caldwell, would that be like a state convention or a regional convention? Because you have those folks getting into that business as well, building facilities, marketing themselves, some type of overflow. How do you see that playing out?
It would have to be very small conferences. People are looking for something less expensive than downtown Boise to do their conference, or they're not interested because we only have 50 people or 100 people, that Boise would not be interested or give them any kind of a break. So that, Kevin, would be a very, very small thing, and I don't think it would be wise for the outside communities to compete. I just, that's their decision, but I don't know really why people would come to Boise and then go out to Caldwell for a conference. They would not like that at all.
All right, our great friend Dave Petzo here as we move along. So we've had all these people come to town, the NCAA tournament, and it was good for downtown Boise, really not good for the region, I don't think. You don't really see a lot of overflow in those areas that we talk about. But, good for downtown. Is it really what's good for Boise is good for the area? Or?
Totally. Yeah, Boise's the draw. It's not that we don't all love the outside area, like you, and having some space.
And more business friendly.
Correct. Yeah, just that. But really, for a draw for people from out of the area, it is going to be downtown Boise. That's the draw. That's a river that runs through the city. It's all those things that are right here. People live out in the hinterlands, as you say, because that's where they want to have their lifestyle. They want some space. They don't want to be on top of each other, and that's the Idaho lifestyle.
They don't like the lib government, the local government in Boise, or the you don't have to say anything.
There's that. I won't thank you for that.
The highly regulated taxes and charging everybody for the drop of a hat. But I digress. Dave Petzo's with us. Phone number's 580-5436, 580-KIDO. How about this one? Dave Petzo, you've been around here a long time, right?
Yeah, just a few years. Yeah.
All right. So, have you ever seen the median home in Ada County almost $300,000?
No, of course not. No. It's crazy.
It's never been that high.
No.
Even in 2007 when everybody was moving.
I don't think it was anywhere close to that.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. I mean, somebody can correct me. I'm not, I'm not in the real estate business. But the answer is no. We're seeing prices jump like crazy. And, Kevin, I just think that's a reflection of also how much money there is here. I was having a discussion this past week with some people about how much money there is in this valley. It's just coming in buckets. It's incredible. People moving in are people moving in with money. And
but are they employed, or are they employing people? I had a friend of mine who said, yeah, people are moving in, but it's everybody with their pensions, and they're paying taxes, but they're not contributing to the workforce because they're retired.
Correct. And that's all right, right? Is that a bad thing that people are coming in with money and then they spend it, and then we need to employ people
they need to work to offset
take care
taxes.
of them?
Yeah. Well, but that's what I'm saying. I mean, that is a criticism. When you have people that are campaigning for governor say the same thing, you deal with people all the time that work each and every day, and it's almost like we're becoming a retirement home from the pension fund of the state of California. You love this state. You care about this state. People that are running for governor are saying, look, we've got to create jobs and such. So how do you balance that? If you sell a home in California for millions and you buy a home, same type for, $300,000.
Right.
I was watching this show called The Millionaire Real Estate People. Mm-hmm. Like, you go to Sun Valley, I watch the television. And there was a line by one of the real estate agents in there said, look, if you want a view, you want this, you want that. The top broker in Los Angeles, move to Idaho. And people in California are moving here. It's just, you just wonder, with the additional population, without a workforce, the infrastructure and the schools. West Ada just did, $95 million?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was, and then they had a $14 million levy to continue to operate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And people are complaining about this, but as you know, the kids have to go to school.
They do. And we never plan for it. And always in our school budgets are planned panic, I think. That's what I call it. Planned bond levies down the road. That's what they always plan for, because they spend every dime. All the time. And so it's always working its way towards the next crisis. If we don't, the schools are going to fall down. Bond levy. That's what that's the strategy of how we fund schools. And of course, we never express that, but that's the ongoing struggle. What really, though, if we're talking about retirees moving in, That's perfect. They just pay property taxes. They don't bring kids in, which fill up the schools, and they're minor users of the infrastructure, but they pay for it. So it is those are the perfect people to bring in, our retirees, because we also then they aren't taking the jobs that are there, and they need people to service all of their needs. So it does create an improving economy, which is a job creator in and of itself.
From Dave Petzo here at KIDO Talk Radio. Now, have you noticed in your business people from California contacting you?
Yeah, a few.
Said,
yeah.
"Hey, Petzo, we've heard about you from
online
California."
and things like that." That's right. We've heard about you, and there's a number of people. I'm sure you hear it from time to time too, right here, when people are talking about moving into the area. Maybe they've only listened to you for 18 months.
No, they say we didn't know about you because we don't advertise the station. So yeah. That's what I hear more than anything else.
That's right. Well, you're so popular that you don't need that advertising.
Right. Yes, exactly. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. So, is the president doing a good job?
The president is doing a good job. If we just break it out, do I wish he was different about tweeting? Of course, but that's really pretty universal thought. I think he's done a phenomenal job as far as deregulation. People just don't understand, who are not in business, how overbearing government is. Just this whole idea that we're now discussing the right size of government rather than just being bigger. You watch what's happened in Boise, right? And government just gets bigger. Government takes away freedom. It is bigger and it costs more, and it functions poorly. I know people on the left hate this comment, but it just seems to be a striking fact, and that is that government doesn't do anything at all well, except take away your freedom. They do that very well. It grows on its own. It's a pig, and it doesn't do anything except be dysfunctional. And I think if we think of it that way, we can keep the size of government down. I don't want to hear what politicians can do for me. I want to hear how they're going to stop funding and taking things from me. Every time they tell me they're going to do something, it doesn't work that for me. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, but aren't we hearing that in the campaign ads for everybody running for governor?
I think to a degree, yeah. But I don't want to, what are they going to do about the job market and things like that, Kevin? They're all talking about it, but the reality is they're not going to do anything about it. Let the economy do stuff about it. Let private industry do things about it. I don't want the government doing anything about it. And the fact of the matter is, I think it's BS anyway. What can the governor do except pave a pathway for business the way Otter did over the past several years by allowing, cutting the red tape and allowing business to thrive and build quickly here.
Boy, sounds like an endorsement for Governor Otter.
It is not. It is simply saying that is actually how government should function in my mind.
All right, much more coming up on Idaho Business with our great friend Dave Petzo. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Actually, it is in Meridian. You were talking about Independence Indoor Shooting Range. Dave, that is, again, the only 100-yard indoor shooting range in the Northwest. And it's clean, it's comfortable, and you could have one of your corporate parties there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I told you. It's very interesting to me.
They're very cool there. So. Yeah. That's another thing we should talk about. What do you make of the firearms industry here under fire? Fred Meyer saying they're not going to, from their parent company Kroger, they're not going to sell firearms. You have to wonder, though, when you're bagging your groceries and your tomatoes or what have you really go and get some ammo or magazines at Fred Meyer. I mean,
it does not seem to be. Yeah, I was surprised that this was a big part of Walmart, Fred Meyer's business. It was shocking to me, actually. As you know, Kevin, I've been considering a personal weapon, and so
I thought you were a personal weapon.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I'm registered in 12 different arts. Yeah. Yeah. I'm dangerous only to myself. But the reality is that so I've been talking with people about it, and they actually say that these stores do sell quite a bit. So that's when I became aware that it was part of the business, and with all the announcements of not selling to somebody under 21, I'm sure that'll solve all the problems of this country, and mental illness and all those things will now subside.
Dave Petzo with us here as we move along at KIDO Talk Radio. So. We've talked a little bit about the price of homes going up. Are we in another bubble? And I know the answer to this question, but it just seems
I know.
the values cannot continue to go up.
Kevin, as long as the economy grows, it's fine. As long as we don't get out of control and too levered, it's fine. It just means growth is growth, and it's good. And what we're going to hear now, I think, is that housing, well, it is a crisis in many cities. Housing crisis part 2 is that there's no affordable housing. It's just not affordable in any of the big cities for people that are on the lower or even the middle end. As you know, I spent a lot of time in Seattle just there this weekend, and it's unbelievable what housing prices are there, and how difficult it is for families. They move way out just for the opportunity to find any amount of space, and that's not the worst. Of course, San Francisco and others are way worse. This is a crisis of trying to find affordable housing, and it is becoming that in Boise. Just because we have more space doesn't mean we have the ability to build for cheap enough to support some of the folks out there. They're kind of getting started, right? And they have to move way out in the hinterlands.
Right.
To do it.
And we see that again and again. That wasn't the case. Let's talk a little bit about some of the news that happened last week. Toys R Us declaring bankruptcy.
Yep.
People are blaming the online, retail giant Amazon. What do you think?
No, it's not. It's a number of things. The big thing before Amazon, Toys R Us was not doing well, and that's because everybody else was carrying toys. You go to Fred Meyer and get toys, right? You didn't have to go to a specialty toy retailer.
Right.
So unless you have some differential, like some of the fancy big toy stores that we all like to walk through, like on Big, I can't think of the name of the place, but where he walks
in New
on
York
the
City, yeah.
Yep, walks on the piano, things like that. That is a shopping experience. That people are willing to go do that. It's not something that they're willing to go to a box store because and pay more money for toys. They'll pick them up while they pick up their groceries and pick up other things. That was already the beginning of the end for Toys R Us. They could not reinvent themselves after that started to take a big chunk of their business away.
Well, and that really comes down to the idea of building that experience, which is what most people like when they go to a place that's very significant, like IKEA. You been to IKEA?
I have not, and I've been told you have to go when you see one of those, in a city you're traveling to. You've got to go, and
right, and you and I have that same thing. I haven't been either, but people say you go to Salt Lake and it's just the most incredible thing that you've ever been a part of, and you're going, dude, it's a store.
It's a store, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I know. I don't like to shop anyway, so that's not. There's zero attraction to go get, take an exit and dive into the store. But
they've built an experience.
They have.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with an Apple store. You think about that. I mean, you go by those. You can go by the Boise Mall and find nobody in the mall or hardly anybody there. But when you want to walk into the Apple store, guess what? You cannot get help. You need an appointment.
And let's get to traffic and weather together. And back with Dave Petzo as we move along. So let's get back to this race for governor. You take a look at Governor Otter, and I've been to Twin Falls in a while, but it just became an official metro area. People have, talk about Chobani, and when you watch these national shows, Chobani's spending a lot of money on advertising.
Yep.
Apparently they're going to, I think, expand that plant already. What do you make of the Magic Valley Miracle, as they're calling it?
Yeah. Well, I think that the governor is very, very much responsible for that, and I certainly give him credit for it. The way that they did it was not to have the lowest tax rates in the world. There are multiple ways, and I think that that's clear. You and I talked earlier today about how the president has done a great job in deregulation. That's an important part, and that's exactly what happened. We have California, just as an example, that literally 10 years ago, billions of dollars were set aside for them to go and begin the train, the high-speed train from L.A. to San Francisco. Kevin, they've not put one piece of track in because of regulatory issues and hurdles and whatever, snails and slugs or whatever are somehow endangered. And this is after years of planning. They already had enough planning to say we need $1 billion. The government gave it to them, and it still sits. And this is the kind of thing that says we can't do anything. We're California, so do not come here. Do not bring your business. Do not move anything here or expand, because we will regulate you to death. Idaho's the opposite, and it is a miracle to be able to build a factory in a year like they did is just not done anywhere else that I know of. It just takes time, and in Idaho they paved that way and got rid of the red tape, and that was up and running. I believe that Chobani factory was 14 months from ground digging to first production.
Yeah, fast-tracked. It was fast-tracked.
It was. It was amazing.
So why can't we do that, something like that here?
I don't know why we can't do something like that here. It's really a very easy thing to do in my mind. They have the blueprint. Just do it. And so I don't think that I don't think there's any reason we couldn't do that here. And I suspect that incredible facilities like the Simplot plant out there, with all the robotics and things, again, I'm sure that there's some red tape, but Idaho's a great place to try to build something. It's a great place regulatory-wise. We need to focus on those things to keep it that way.
One among many businesses that you monitor and that you report on, you're the Micron expert.
I am not the Micron expert, but I do obviously follow Micron. But thank you, Kevin.
You know? If I say anything else, you're going to label me grumpy. So,
you can be a little grumpy.
I don't resemble that remark, but anyway, there's a lot of moving parts going on. Many people are fearing that this new CEO is going to ship everything to Taiwan.
I'm afraid of that too.
And again, as only the two people in the room here at KIDO Talk Radio, you are our Micron expert. Comparatively speaking to me, would you?
Okay, that's totally fair.
Okay,
yeah.
But we're hearing rumblings that this guy he's shipping everything over, and that's we've seen that in other places, in other parts of the country, where you have people that have had great ties to the area. You know, Statesman's just did a story about the Morrison Knudsen buildings. Now their entire presence is being owned by St. Luke's.
Right.
I think, with the exception of this building.
Mm-hmm.
And you think of people that have made it here, Simplot, Morrison Knudsen, and others, and all that being taken away. Micron, I mean, J.R. Simplot saw something there. And
yep. Simplot and Nicholson,
right.
Donkey, all the great industrialists, yeah.
Right. So here you bring in this guy.
Yep.
And that might all go away.
It might. I know. Things change. They always do. I hate that part of it. And let's hope not. But you're right. He's a complete outsider. All the old guys are gone now. And, I mean, even the guys that were there, just after the guys that started the whole thing, right? The people, their careers are, they've cashed in. They're gone. And they're retired. So there's really nobody local, nobody, that's in the upper echelons anymore. So the reality is do we really want the Chinese right next door to all of our technology? Or are they going to keep it here and continue to use this as the main R&D facility? Because that's my hope, that we've got cheap electricity here. Tax rates have come back down. Being in the United States is not a penalty anymore. So I think that there is a better shot, and I think that's one of the things that people don't realize, how big a deal this particular tax bill is to businesses like Micron for thinking about moving the rest of their operations overseas. Because why not? It's a global world, and as you know, this guy is not from here, right?
And maybe the folks that put him in there should have thought of that.
Yeah, well, they
my own thoughts.
Thought he was the best guy for the job,
right?
Period.
And tell that to the people that are training their Taiwanese replacements.
Yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen. I am worried too, Kevin. I truly am.
Dave Petzo, he tells it like it is. You're still protecting China?
I'm still. I think we need
Ray
to be
and I
protected.
ran that like 3 or 4 days of you protecting China on our intro. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Ray. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You're listening to Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie. And we roll along. Kevin Miller in the morning. Blessed to be a part of your day. Liberty Linda joins us now at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Liberty Linda. How are you?
I'm fine. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning.
Such a beautiful day.
It is.
Yes.
Maybe someday the sun will come out.
Yeah, right. Pretty soon. Anyway, Kevin, there's insanity upon insanity going on in Preston. First we have the teacher, in whom I'm surprised no one has turned him in, yet, up until when we found out what was going on there. And then they killed the turtle, and the teacher is still teaching. It's unbelievable. I think when we were in the first grade that we would have said, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. What do you think? You think so in the first grade?
I see. This is the thing. You have people, whether it's the state of Idaho, whether it's the folks in Preston, they just all want this all to go away. So they kill the turtle. The turtle didn't do anything wrong. The turtle does what a turtle does. And if this teacher did not feed this live puppy to a turtle in front of these kids, and we have the parents saying that he did, then there would have been a denial already. What they're trying to do is hoping that something else will grab the nation's attention and they can all move on. Now, look, I dabbled in education. If I were principal of that school, I would have suspended him immediately pending the outcome of the investigation. That does two things. That removes him from the school, and that allows the school to move on. They haven't been allowed to do that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, in the first grade, we would have known that. Anyway, in my biology class, I would have turned my teacher in for making me cut up a frog.
I would agree with you on that.
Did you do that? Anyway, then we turned to the news, and they're still putting those two little words together, collusion and Russia. A year ago, by the second time we heard it, we were yawning. And here it is now, a year since then, and they're still talking about it. And it's like, we scratch our heads and saying, okay, what's going on here? Anyway, so those two words, we really don't want to hear them together again, collusion and Russia. I think we should get on to more important things.
Well, I would agree with you on that. And, people continue to attack the president, but they've lost their minds. Andrew McCabe, he did something wrong. He had to go. And why would you reward someone by giving them a pension if this Inspector General report says you need to be fired? This happens to good people every day. Every day, good people get hosed over through no fault of their own. And I don't know about you, Liberty Linda, but I am so tired of hearing the bleeding hearts cry for these heartless politicians.
When is it going to stop? This has gone on since he was elected president. And we turn on the news, and I'm sorry, I just want to turn it off again. I like some of the news people out there. I'm not really, but let's get on to something that's really beneficial for us and interesting.
Well,
that's what I think.
They're doing their very best to take this guy down. And the problem is Donald Trump can dish it out and take it. They can't.
He's marvelous. I mean, he does just keep dishing it out. He's unbelievable. But he's unbelievably marvelous. There's a difference there.
How do you see the before I let you go, because we're getting ready to delve into this governor's race, the first CD race. How do you see this playing out? We know who you're picking.
Yes. Yay, Tommy Alquist. Go Tommy Alquist. Alquist, yay, Governor Alquist. How about that?
Well, that was a cheer, not really an analysis, but okay.
Well, I said from the beginning, I prayed about everyone. There are a bunch of wonderful people that are running that I really do like. But when I prayed about Tommy Alquist, I felt the Spirit very strongly. And, plus he was my state president, and I know he's a great guy, and I think he'll be a wonderful governor. I think he'll work for the people here in Idaho, and I think he'll do wonderful things, just like our president is doing.
Liberty Linda, thank you.
Well, thank you. You're number one in our book.
Well, I'm glad I'm number one in somebody's book. Thank you.
Okay, Kevin. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. Our great friend, Liberty Linda. To our great friend, Redo Top Jimmy on Twitter, the real Top Jimmy on Twitter. Jim from Star that continues his multimedia empire. Good morning, sir.
Oh, man. I'm a little bit hammered. I've been taking a shot every time she says anyway. About 20 shots. Hey, I got a question for you. Fred Meyer, you were talking about the Kroger stores and this and that. I caught part of that conversation. Did anyone say that it's probably a really, what could you say, convenient thing for them? Because they're not selling that kind of product anyways. And think of all the new rack space and, all the merchandising that they'll have and be able to put up, I think it's a cop-out. I think they don't want to sell that. I don't think they've wanted to sell it for a long time. And, it's going to work out real well for them, getting away from the firearms. What do you think of that?
Well, Dave Petz and I covered this about 40 minutes ago, but it really...
I caught some of it, yeah.
Really, it comes down to, how many guns does Dick's Sporting Goods sell? Probably not many. So
no.
you beat your chest, you say this, and if you don't want to sell firearms grade, it's like this show. You don't want to be a part of what we do, okay. That's great, and certainly I'm glad they're outing themselves and saying they're not down with the Second Amendment. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, and it's funny. I was just over in that shopping center over the weekend, Dick's Sporting Goods, and I just looked over at my wife, and I'm like, I ain't going in there again. And we both agree that everything in there is way overpriced anyways, and then they make a big old stink about the guns and stuff. It's just a cop-out, man. It's just one of those things where they're looking for a way to look cool and PC, and they think it's going to save them money, and it probably will. So I just wanted to bring that up, buddy. Thank you very much.
Well, we appreciate you.
Anyways, see you, bud.
See ya. All right, our friend Jim from Star, 580-5436-580-KIDO. Look, there are a lot of good people, like everywhere, that work at some of these stores, Dick's Sporting Goods, Fred Meyer, wherever. They're really good people. I love Fred Meyer. They don't want to sell guns, so be it. There are a lot of things that, kind of like, here we go, a little dangerous territory, like Rex Tillerson. You don't cross the boss, so you get it. There are some things that I agree with, at home or at work, and there are other things that I don't. But it's America, right? 580-5436-580-KIDO. So back to the story, as Liberty Linda brought up in Preston, Idaho. Crazy story over the weekend. We first told you the teacher that allegedly fed the live puppy to the snapping turtle, that it was his beloved snapping turtle he had for years. Again, there's no confirmation nor denial from this local school district, so the state comes in because unlike the people in Preston, and I'm sure they're very nice people, they don't know crisis management, they snap up the snapping turtle. And then they euthanize it, and they said they did it humanely. Why would you kill the turtle? The turtle did nothing wrong. It's the irony here. We're killing the turtle, but we're not getting rid or even examining what the teacher's up to, who caused the whole calamity to begin with. And it shows you in the state that you have to wonder just how animal-friendly we are. Now, I did a Miller Minute on Friday concerning a pet-friendly license plate, right? And that went down. We can't even have a pet-friendly license plate that would go to spay and neuter pets? And yet, many people in the state, I mean, what was it? How many signatures did the animal rights folks get to strengthen animal rights laws in the state? It was like 50, 60,000. They got a referendum and it fell through. That's a lot of signatures. There are a lot of people in the state that wonder just how animal friendly we are. We'll talk about it next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Thank you, Ray Amaya. Appreciate it. Hope you're having a great day. Let's get to the phones and talk to Hank in Boise. Hank, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Good morning. I might point out something. The fact that Tommy Alquist and Brad Little feel compelled to use TAC ads on Raul Labrador at this stage, when normally when a TAC ads are used only a month before the election, shows that the Labrador probably has in their internal polling a substantial lead, that they feel compelled to expend money at this point on TAC ads. I think this is one of the indicators. Although, since we don't have really good polls, public polls right now, I think that that's an indicator where the race stands.
See, I haven't seen the Brad Little attack ads. You're saying he's attacking?
Oh yeah, he's runs attack ads, and they're targeted, and Brad are targeted up in the Panhandle, and all Tommies are targeted more towards Eastern Idaho, which shows where they feel from their standpoint of their strategies where Labrador needs to be whittled down from their standpoints.
You think that's going to work?
Well, the problem this far out is that the public mind they may be forced to do that, but normally the public mind isn't completely focused in on a race like this or a primary like this until about a month out. That's why they don't usually use it, and the fact that they're compelled to this far out to use them, I think is an indicator that Labrador's lead is substantial.
Well, it could be you could get voter fatigue as well.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But I think that they've got people who are working for them that are knowledgeable. I don't think that the decision to run an attack ad was lightly taken. So I think these are clues of what's going on in the race. Is my point of my phone call.
All right, Hank. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Betsy in Parma with Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Betsy.
Good morning, Kevin. Hi. I just wanted to share a little story. A couple of years ago, I lived in Middleton, and we found a snapping turtle walking down the middle of the road. We rescued that turtle, took it home, called Fish and Game. Fish and Game came out to get the turtle from us and told us that the turtle would be euthanized due to the fact that they are native to Idaho and they're an invasive species and they're not allowed in the state. So that's why the turtle was euthanized.
So here's the other thing. This turtle, I guess, had been in this guy's classroom for quite a while. Nobody turned him in. They killed the turtle.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I don't agree that the turtle should have been killed. I don't think they should have killed the one we rescued either. I think it's ridiculous. The turtle did nothing wrong. The teacher should be definitely suspended until the investigation's over. I don't know what kind of investigation. How are they going to figure that it's a good thing to kill this turtle or to feed the puppy to the turtle? But I just wanted to let everybody know that is the reason the turtle was euthanized.
Betsy, thank you for the call. Thank you for listening.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right. Betsy joining us, talking about snapping turtles and politicians. Bo in Meridian, good morning. You're on with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Hey, Bo.
Hey, Kevin. I just wanted to kind of make a mention, on this Tommy Ahlquist. And, I'd really like to hear, a little bit more substance, instead of people calling in and discussing his religion and all that, which I happen to be Mormon as well, and I do support that. I think that's great. I'm sure that he's going to be he'd have integrity, but I'm definitely not going to go and vote him into office, because maybe that's not going to be best for what Idaho needs, Well,
what would you say to him? And Dr. Ahlquist does listen to this program. He's told me that many times. What would you say to him directly, or to the people that are working with him? What would you like to hear and see from him right now?
I want to hear a little bit more substance, and I'm going to be on the lookout to hear a little bit more of some of his plans. But by now, I mean, for as of yet, I don't think that I've heard anything that was too impressive, for his what he will or will not do. I mean, there's plenty of the people that are of my faith, that are. That I feel like maybe they are still a little bit, closed-minded to the possibilities and the benefits to some of the things that are not being looked at. So, I don't know how to really, even say, any further. Look at, cannabis, look at the pharmaceutical companies and what they don't want to say and what they don't want to support and what they don't want us to have. So, that's only one example. I don't want just another guy in there who's going to be shutting stuff down and not even taking a look at it.
All right, Bo, thank you for the call.
Thank you.
All right, 580-5436, 580-KIDO, your questions, your answers with me, Kevin Miller. 57 after the hour, time for traffic and weather.
Andy McCabe has undercut his credibility all by himself. He didn't need any help doing that. And I find it richly ironic that he is lamenting that those are attacking the FBI when he himself does the exact same thing. It was the FBI who said he made an unauthorized disclosure and then lied about it. That wasn't President Trump. It wasn't me. It wasn't the crazy House Republicans. It was his own fellow FBI agents that said he leaked and then lied about it. So if he's got credibility issues, he needs to look no further than himself.
And there we have it. That is Trey Growdy from Fox News Sunday. Remember, you can always catch Fox News Sunday right before Healthy Conclusions right here on KIDO Talk Radio. You've got a great lineup on Sunday. We've got the best of Glenn, the best of Sean, and then Fox News Sunday, and then Healthy Conclusions with our friend Tea Party Bob. Kevin Miller in the morning. Coming up, we're going to take a look at the big national issues with Lars Larson. That's right. Big Lars joins us as he does every week. Can't wait to hear what he has to say and what you have to say as well. We're rolling. Stay with us, won't you? Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.